Hey everybody, it's your girl Sherry, and welcome back to Alleged Actually Podcast. Y'all, today I am joined by my guest co-host, Joey. Joey is my Bravo bestie. And let me tell y'all something. Listen, y'all are in for a treat because he knows his housewives, okay?
Thank you. I take
Welcome,
pride in
Joey.
that.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I am so excited. Y'all, the reunion part one gave what typically part ones don't give. I was impressed that they got right down to business. It wasn't a filler. It was like, let's get started. I love that.
I agree.
Yes. So, as you guys know, before we get into it, if you haven't yet, go ahead, hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're trying to reach our next goal. We're at 5.3K strong, and we're trying to get to the next goal of 6K subscribers, so you guys know what to do. Right? And before we get into the actual recap, you know, y'all, I have to talk about these looks. So I'm going to put it on the screen, and me and Joey are just going to chat about this thing here. All right. I don't know how well you guys can see it. I got all the ladies on the screen. My thing was, typically, there's like a color or a theme. Like, there was no cohesiveness. I didn't know what they were going for. I mean, I see some similarities in a color scheme-ish type, you know, Tamra and Katie, and then the gold, the bronze, and Shannon's white. I don't know. What did you make of it, Joey?
You're right. There is like a color scheme, but then Shannon just sticks out like a sore thumb. White.
Look, Shannon had a rough season. Shannon can wear neon colors, white, whatever. God knows.
Yeah. I mean, she can wear whatever color she wants. I don't know if that dress was the best. It did nothing for her figure. And we know she came back this season looking good.
She did, y'all. She came back snatched. I mean, because last season, I know she was struggling with some body issues. Just she wasn't happy, and it showed, but she came back snatched, body snatched, face snatched. I was like, okay, Shannon. She did not come to play.
She did not.
That dress wasn't doing it. Mm-mm.
It had no shape.
No.
It just, no. And she looked like uncomfortable sitting in it.
She looked like she couldn't breathe. And I mean, I feel you, Shannon, because I have some dresses in that closet that if I could just squeeze this body up in there, but you pay for it, because if you got to sit like, it wasn't given, Shannon.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Another one, I wanted it to work for her, but Emily, I liked the dress. I didn't like it on Emily.
Emily breaks my heart. She used to be one of my favorites. I think she's so gorgeous.
She is.
That dress was not flattering. I don't know what was happening with her face. Was it too much filler? I really don't know. Very just disappointed because I think that she's beautiful.
I think she's beautiful as well. I've been struggling with her face actually all season. You know, and like, this is not to be mean because honestly, I think Emily is absolutely stunning.
Same.
There's something with her eye, you know, and I would like liken it to, okay, you know, Emily's turn. She had one too many cocktails. I don't know, but like even on it's like her eye just keeps going low, and I'm like, it does seem like filler related because her face looks puffy, and then her lip. I mean, that's not how she used to look. I don't.
No, but I feel like she looks so different even from like the season to like the reunion. I don't know what was happening.
I think it was fillers. I really do. Y'all slide in the comments and let us know what you think. But yeah, I don't know what was going on. I wasn't sure what was going on. And my other thing, Gina, God love her. But okay, well, let me say this. At first I was like, Gina, you look stank. I don't like that dress. Sitting on that couch.
She looked good.
She did, right? It kind of came together. I was like, stank is working for you.
Yeah,
Gina.
when the first looks came out, I was looking at the pictures and I was like, what is that a shirt? And then in like live action, she looked so good. Again, body snatched. I really liked her. I thought her hair
her hair looked good.
She was giving face. I mean, I thought it came together.
You know what? It did. It honestly did. So, touche. I stand corrected. Okay, she did look good. Heather, I thought she looked good as well. She did. You know, Heathers. She looked good. She
Right.
did.
She always looks good, I think. I
So
mean,
it's
like,
broken together.
I didn't expect anything less.
Absolutely not. Tamra.
You know, I didn't hate the dress, but I
No.
hate to give her any kind of props.
Same.
So, but what we should really talk about, to be honest with you, that CO2 treatment, your face looks no different.
No, it doesn't.
Right?
And
It
that
looks no
was
different to me.
no, it doesn't. And matter of fact, when they were going back in the scenes in the flashback, she looked better before because you feel me? I was like, and the brow lift. I mean, it just I didn't see why put yourself to looking like that, but you know, she's attention seeking. So
Good or bad.
good or bad, right? So her up there looking like God knows, like Night of the Living Dead. She thought it worked for her. I mean, we're talking about it.
You know what? You're right. And you know what?
Yeah.
Everyone's been talking about it. So.
But I'm gonna say, and I want to know. I wanted to give the look of the night to one housewife who absolutely deserves it. But before I do that, honorable mention for me goes to Katie.
I could not agree more.
Yes,
That dress is stunning on her.
so stunning, so stunning.
Stunning. I love
And
everything. I love her hair. I love it all.
I loved it all too. And you know what? Like, so when the looks came out, and I was like, okay, yes, Katie is giving. And then when she sat on the couch, the detail of the neckline, it was Asian inspired. That was so slick. And then the sheerness of it all, it top tier. It looked good. It looked good.
I agree.
I wanted to give her the look of the night, but I couldn't do it.
I couldn't either because I know we're gonna agree again.
We are, Joey. That's why you're my Bravo Bestie, because listen, y'all, look of the night. Woo! Get it?
I mean, no questions asked.
You can't. If you're asking questions, you're a hater. That dress looks like it found its home on her body, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I
couldn't agree more.
Yes, she looks stunning.
Stunning.
She did. Jenn is winning.
The outside matches the inside, let me tell you.
I agree 100%. I do. All right, guys. So we have given y'all our takes on the looks. And now I want to talk about this seating chart.
This seating chart gives me agita.
All right, Joey, give me your thoughts on the seating chart.
Well, first of all, Jenn should be in Tamra's position.
Yes.
Like, I believe 100%.
1,000. Not
only was she, as I like to coin her, the MVP of the OC.
You did. That's so good.
Thank you. Like, this season, I felt like was a lot about her. Because the other women made it about her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that you should be rewarded, Tamra Judge, with a first seat for being possibly one of the biggest villains on television. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Jenn should have taken Tamra's seat. Katie could have slid down, and Tamra should have been on a folding chair in the parking lot for all I care.
I agree. No, I agree 100%. I mean, it was giving, I'm rewarding you for your only storyline being bullying the heck out of Shannon Bedore.
Right. But why is that Bravo's thing? I
don't know. And you know, I've said it because this has been literally but this channel is 1 year old this month.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And I have watched, I'm a Bravo fan, period, but Housewives has always been my thing. And what I used to love about the franchises, all of them, is the organicness of it, because I know myself, anytime you put a group of women together, organically, you're going to have those that are naturally gonna not like each other. There's cattiness, there's going to be drama. It doesn't have to be forced. And if you have the right women together with enough going on, that's a show right there. All of this now, self-producing, getting with bloggers, all of us content creators, some of the big ones that are, besties with some of those housewives, digging up dirt on each other. It's just,
I agree. And I think that that's a big reason that all these shows are like losing ratings. It's much different than when they came in and took real groups of friends and made a show versus like, now you're bringing in these women. Oh, you're going to be friends and film together. And it's like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to bring her on and she's supposed to be your friend. Bring her in this friend group. Let's see how it lands. It's very insulting to the fans because, I mean, sometimes it works, but a lot of times it does not work. And
no, I agree. And I think that what OC was missing this season specifically was, I look at a cast like Miami. In Miami, they fight like cats and dogs.
Yeah, they do.
But there are moments of like incredible like camaraderie and togetherness. And this season didn't have one scene of that. Not one.
No. And it was, though I will say, and I said on my last recap of the finale, I give it overall a strong 8. And that was solely because it did keep me coming back each episode because, honey, I am known to skip one or two if they're going to like prolong something, right? For instance, Potomac, I gave it a break because I'm going to need them to, Charlotte, I'm a North Carolinian. Really?
I know, but I'm so happy you brought that up because Potomac used to be like my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
They were amazing. And I like struggled to watch even like this like last episode. I'm just like bored.
I am too. I am so bored. And I'm going to catch up, but I always know when I start to waver and I'm like, oh, it's I'll catch it on Peacock a little later.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but I did tune in every Thursday night for Orange County. So I got to give the ladies that. Same. They kept me coming back. So
I agree.
All right. So guys, the reunion opens up as it typically does with Andy giving everyone their greeting. And we go down the line. Tamra talks about her CO2 laser and blue pill and the brow lift that didn't do a whole lot for her.
I don't know what did.
I don't know. He goes to Emily and she talks about her workout schedule. She's no longer doing 7 days a week. She's backing off a little something, but she's gotten Shane a personal trainer. Okay.
Thrilled for him. Did you notice that they didn't do the normal, like them in like their trailers getting ready scenes?
Yep. Yeah. And I honestly, well, that's why I kind of said like kudos because they got straight down to business, because typically the first one is a lot of Andy visiting them when they're getting ready, they're getting their glam done, they're talking about the season, and it takes a minute before they even get on the couch and we get to any of the actual meat of what went on in the season. But yeah, I mean, everything from the stage set to them just plopping down on the couch. And I don't know. I'm not sure what that was giving. I don't know what that meant. I also have another theory. And let me just say this to y'all. Everybody that truly knows me knows that I love me some Andy Cohen. Okay. Oh my God. My children have grown up. They'll be like, Mom, I went to BravoCon in 2023 and I'm remarried. I have an ex-husband. And even he was like, the kids were like, Mama's in Vegas for BravoCon. He was like, did she get to meet Andy Cohen? And I posted a picture I had of him. He was right in front of my face. I got like statued. I couldn't do anything. My husband took the picture and I sent it to all of them. They were like, wow, you're living your best life. I'm like, right? There he is.
Good for you.
Absolutely. But I say all that to say Andy's starting to piss me off.
Okay, I didn't want to crap
you want
talk.
To crack my heart?
Crap talk your man in shining armor, but I don't know. Something's going on with him.
Yeah. Big time.
He's no longer fair and balanced. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
I know. And it's hard for me to say this because I feel like, I'm betraying him, but he is just not. I mean, it was so unfair. And this is not he's been doing this for a while. You can even see it on the Watch What Happens lives when he has some of the housewives on. He is completely, you can tell who he likes and who he doesn't. Let's be clear.
100%. No
I'm
poker
sorry,
face
but
whatsoever.
I know. And I'm sorry, but Shannon is on that list because he was giving Tamra too much. It wasn't fair. I mean, it just. All right, we're going to get to it, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm rambling.
I know.
He goes through all the ladies. He greets them. Gina is doing well with her real estate business. Heather's still in construction with her home. Jen, of course, we congratulate her on her engagement. And her and Ryan are planning a wedding in June of 2025. Shannon, she's looking happy and healthy. And she has gotten back out into the dating world, which we're going to see her. And on the new show, the dating show, some of the housewives are going to be on there with
Yes.
Jim. Was it Jim Holster Boots? I can't think of his name. I've talked about it on here. I don't remember the name of the show, but
me either. But I'm excited because I'm excited for the return of Luann.
I know, right? Haven't you missed her?
I have. I love her.
I love Luann. I do. I really do. The Countess, you can't go wrong, honey. And she's a man eater, so I can't wait. Her, and they're going to have Ashley. That'll be
messy.
Very messy. That's all that's Ashley. The forehead. Yeah. I got one too, so I can talk about her forehead. The forehead and the messiness. Yes.
That's all I got.
Right. So hey, that's okay. But so Shannon's gonna be on this dating show. So she's getting back into the dating world. And so then he says, let's talk about the intentions for the night. And y'all, that's when my blood pressure started to rise immediately. First, he goes to Tamra. And she says, well, I want to talk about why I was hurt in all of this. Joey, help me here. What the?
I don't. For someone that keeps preaching about like the therapy that she's in, she better get her money back. That therapist doing nothing.
No. I mean, that poor child, and a lot of people throw the word out narcissist. That delusion or something. I mean, she legitimately, God, and then you wonder, like, okay, was she playing up for the cameras? Is she just trying to secure her bag? Maybe God.
I think that she is legitimately a sociopath. She has zero empathy for anyone.
When they were in London and Shannon got up from the table and when they talked about her being in the bars and whatever.
Yeah,
and when
it's like her being in jail.
Yeah. And when I thought, oh my gosh, this woman has no soul. I mean, None. And so the hypocrisy of her wanting to talk about why she was hurt wore me out. And that Andy then comes and's like, oh, I know you're in therapy. Oh, thank you for that, Andy. I'm like, Andy.
Let me tell you, I don't care how many girls are on like that stage. There's always an extra housewife, and it's Andy Cohen.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because you know what? He's in alliance with some of them, and the agenda is strong. I mean, I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon then says, well, in my therapy that like I actually go to and actually am getting something out of.
Right.
Yeah. She says they talk about healthy boundaries and that doesn't include toxic relationships. Now, I want to ask you, Joey, so what are your thoughts on Shannon this season, where she's at?
So I was never a huge Shannon Bedore fan.
Yeah, same.
Maybe it had to do with like her alliance with always like the mean girls, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when she talks about going to therapy and doing the work, I like believe her. I feel like we saw a completely different Shannon Storms Bedore this season than we have in like the past. She owned the DUI. She was doing the work. She was very willing to talk about it, in my opinion.
She was.
And I felt like she was softer. I loved the work she did with Gina to get back to like a better place.
Me too.
I loved her like support of Jenn. I just felt like she was a different person. And maybe it was the awakening that she needed in a very horrible way. But I believe that she actually is doing the work and she is changing. Whereas we see the complete opposite from Tamra. So like, don't talk about your therapy. No one cares.
I completely agree. And I'm with you. This season we saw a different Shannon. I know it was hard. I mean, I can't imagine, but she owned it. She took full accountability, unlike another Housewives on Potomac that we'll get to some other time. But you know, here and the thing is, what's so good about what Shannon did, she learned, or I learned in watching her, is when you are transparent, when you are humble, when you do, you know, we're all flawed. And so, I mean, let's be clear. She's on a whole cast of some women that don't know when to put that drink down. So she's not by herself there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Tamra and that.
I mean, just trash drunk. I mean, but she broke her foot or something on a drunken night. I mean,
right. Those that live in glass houses, girl, let me tell you, should put that stone down.
You know what? And Shannon's better than me because I would have ate her up. I would have had every scenario down, and I would have had to use the children card. As nasty as Tamra was, I match energy, and I'm proud of Shannon because I couldn't be that classy.
I'm telling you,
couldn't.
Maybe her coping or her way was to get up and move away from like the scenario and like walk away. But like,
I was proud of her for that.
Maybe that's like the best case scenario. What do you get? You're never gonna win with Tamra. So what's the point in dragging it out? Get up, walk away.
You know, and I was gonna say, I know it got on a lot of people's nerves, but I understood it because I'd rather see her do that than what I've seen in other seasons where she does that complete meltdown, where she becomes unhinged and looks so crazy. And it's like, don't give them that, Shannon. And I'm glad she didn't.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Getting up.
We saw much less unhinged behavior this year from her.
Except for with poor Katie's husband, but they'll get to that, I'm sure, at one of the parts. That was a glimpse of the old Shannon. Just a glimpse.
Just a little miscommunication.
A little something. Yeah, a little something. But yeah. I was glad to see her growth. I really was because, again, between Tamra and then bringing Alexis on with John Jansen, it was no one should have to endure that. I don't know what her paycheck is from Bravo, but listen.
I hope it was worth it. You was blew up like your whole life. Everyone hates you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so there's that. So y'all, you know, they get through that. And then she says, you know, when she says that part of her setting the boundary is not having toxic relationships, and Tamra wants to make sure, you mean the whole 10 years was toxic. And she said something that I agreed with. She said, no, she said, especially when you came back on the show, it's never been the same. And that is true. When Tamra was put on pause and then she came back, she was, you would think that once you've been put on pause and brought back, you know, because she did the whole, well, you know, now I'm a Christian and all that. It lasted for 5 seconds.
I got 5 seconds.
5, maybe. Yes. 5 is generous. Yes. And then she was right back. And I mean, it got nastier and nastier. And this season was a new low even for Tamra. So.
No words.
None.
There was like not a second of like reprieve. She came in episode 1, foot on the gas, and never let up. Never
gave her any. I mean, from start to finish, she was on her neck. And I was like, goodness.
Yep.
The fans are speaking. And so I believe that's why we saw, if you want to give it to a more demure Tamra.
Interesting choice of words.
Okay.
You know what? She was much quieter than I expected her to be.
She was.
She really was.
She was. And she did a very, you know, she can typically will get to the screaming, because she was very, you know, she said that Shannon was a gaslighter. She was very much the gaslighter.
Always is.
Do you notice how every time that she would try to say, well, you know, because Andy would say, well, don't you think you kind of went a little hard at her this season? well, yeah, but for me, it was just, I was struggling with the fact that I was still with her, but I know I see her drinking. She kept throwing it out there. Yeah.
She couldn't stop
Y'all
talking about Shannon's drinking.
wouldn't get off it.
She brought it up in every apology. She tried. Well, I use the term apology very, very like loosely.
Yeah.
But she brought it up every single time.
Every time. And that was her way of still getting in her last little digs. I was like,
always.
Wow.
Always.
So then, y'all, the intention, they go to Jenn and she says that her intention is to work through whatever this thing is between her and Emily. I thought that was funny because Emily was quick to say, there's not a thing. And I'm like, girl, there is a thing. What are your thoughts on Jenn and Emily?
I'm so mad about Emily because Emily used to be like my favorite OC housewife. I think that she has become the queen flip-flopper. She's like so cool in like one scene and then a complete villain in like the next. And like, I feel like she didn't really share anything about herself this season.
Not this season.
She was all up in everyone's business. Last night was a perfect example of her being all up in everyone else's business.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, we're trying to talk about you.
Oh, yeah.
You were on a reality show to share your life.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you align with these villains and like you become one of them. I mean, she went in on Jenn this season and it was so unfair because Jen's so sweet and has never done anything to her.
Nothing to her.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all.
My thoughts are that Jenn triggers her because she alluded to the fact of her growing up difficult. Jenn reminds her of her mom, but I think it's deeper than that. I mean, it's got to be hard. I mean, look, those women, Emily is a normal size curvy woman. Okay. These ladies are tiny. So, and Jenn, in addition to being tiny, is freaking gorgeous.
But I always thought Emily was so gorgeous.
Emily is gorgeous, but you also have to remember Jenn, despite the fact that her and her husband broke up because of infidelity, she ends up with Ryan. She has a struggle, but somebody's always zooming in to save Jenn, and Jenn is unscathed. I mean, Jenn can, despite not, it's seeming like she was down. They can talk about whatever you want. She's broke. She's this. Put it in your bank account. Pay your rent. Jenn still comes through looking flawless in her glam. They hated every time she got glam, labeled down, pushing that range. Look.
Right. Well, and even more though, she is like their kryptonite because she owns it.
Yeah.
She owns everything. There was infidelity. I got evicted. Blah, blah. And when those type of people, like a Tamra, and unfortunately Emily aligns up with her, have nothing to bark back at you with, it drives them bonkers because they have no ammunition.
Yep.
And that's why I think they come for her all the time.
I think so too. And they're hoping it'll stick and break her. And she's just like, nothing.
I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are my thoughts. I don't know. Then they go into about Shannon's drinking. Heather brings up the fact that her thing was, when Andy's asking, do y'all think that she has one child? Andy. And Heather brings up, well, your BAC was such that, my husband, who's a doctor, said that at that level, that someone with a BAC or blood alcohol level that high to be awake has to drink a lot. And that's where my concern came in. Girl.
Uh-huh.
That's another one, y'all. I was a Heather Dubrow stan and listen.
Girl, preach.
I don't know, but I will say this. One of my actualizers checked me and I was like, They were like, I watched your recap. And I just don't understand why you're surprised at Heather. Go back and watch. I was like,
I get that all the time.
Well, to be fair, remember when Shannon first came on and Heather did seem annoyed by her as she came for her, and she often would use the coin term psychotic break. It's like you're having a psychotic break. Oh, I'm worried for you. You're having a psychotic break. And Shannon just did not know what to do with it. So it looked, I mean, that was the epitome of gaslighting. She would set her up in scenes where Shannon would be emotional about something. And yes, Shannon does drink heavy. And some of that would lean into why sometimes she wasn't always her best self, but she wasn't by herself. But Heather would use those times. You know, she talked about her husband at the time, talking about her body. And I mean, she would do things in the group to really come for Shannon, because at that time, Shannon lived not too far from Heather. And Heather wants to be the only one that is queen bee with the money, with the bling. I mean, that's
but
my thought.
Isn't she like, you know?
Yeah.
But I just feel like as seasons like went on, I felt like Heather was always like very like misunderstood.
I did last season particularly. I was so mad at them the way they did her.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, she didn't learn anything from it because she became the person that she hated last season, this season.
But you know what? And I thought about this too. I watch them and all the ladies, and I see middle school back in the day, every girl group, we all want to be liked. Somebody wants to be a queen bee. Mean girls are always a thing because it's your way of keeping control of the group. Like, I don't like her, so y'all better get on board. And, you know, we revert back to our inner 12-year-old little girl. And I'm watching them. They do it too. I'm like, you know, you see it on the trips. Somebody's the outcast. They all kind of get together and, you know, it just... And I feel like Heather fell into it because she knew last season how it felt to be outcasted, that it just seems so low class for her to align herself with Tamra. But
that's what I'm saying. But you know how you felt like last season.
Yeah.
To come in this season and do the opposite and be the person that was like is attacking other, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense at all. Particularly, she doesn't need to do that. I don't know. But like I said,
for someone that I feel, not to interrupt you, but obviously cares so much about what they look like on television, right? So much about, you know, I mean, she got mad at Terry in that doctor's office and told him, like, you better not talk to me like that. You seem to be very flagrant about being a bully on, I hate that word, but on national television, but you care so much about what you look like. But, like, have you watched yourself back? Like, I wonder if she's going to like how she like, looks this season.
I think she probably didn't, but she's going to try to twist it around so that it seems as if she was well within her rights, or she was taken wrong because she was just concerned. And,
right.
You know, she's really, by the way, very good at that. I'm like, which when we get to it will be why, you know, the fans are like, oh my God, they came for Katie. Look, Katie, yes, and we'll get there. So I'll try to keep myself on focus. We need to get there. I'm trying to go on time. Okay, so
I'm the wrong guest to have. I will go all over the place.
But I like that because, I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, but we'll get there. So there's more of Shannon versus Tamra. And I'm not going to belabor that topic. We all know that, in all sincerity, I will give Shannon credit. She held on to the fact that, look, I got the help that I needed. I'm good. And so, Tamra, you can keep sliding there. Well, I saw you drinking, or you were drinking in treatment. That is so irresponsible of her. That is so wrong. It's wrong for Bravo to let it go on. I was happy because Emily has redeeming moments when she got in there, inserted herself, this time in a good way, and said, you know, it is so counterproductive, Tamra, for you to think that you can bully Shannon into admitting she has a problem or stopping drinking or whatever, which is what we all wanted to say. That's not the right approach.
Agreed. But that was like that glimpse of Emily where I'm like, oh, there's the Emily that I loved.
Right.
You know, it's nice that it's still in there somewhere.
It is. I don't know why Emily thought that was a good idea. And, you know, here's the thing, because people are talking, look, Emily, and they keep coming for Emily and Gina. Hey, Gina gave up some storyline. Emily did not. Emily, if you don't step it up, you might be, you know, I mean.
Not to jump around again, but I thought Gina made a great turnaround this season.
She did. I was mad at her on the first couple of episodes. Real mad. I was like, what? You know, I cannot stand for someone that has been in the same position when Gina and her husband first divorced or separated first, and she moved into Casita. I'm sure that was very humbling to be around these ladies. I mean, I like her for that because, see, listen, I have to travel to San Diego for work a lot, and I run into some ladies sometimes that are just in San Diego for the day from OC. I love it because I'm just like, oh, well, what. But listen, OC is OC now. Okay. That zip code is real. So for her to show her struggling with not being able to afford all the mansions and all the things and all the opulence and all that, I think that's real. And I liked her for it. But then for her to then turn around, and I get it because it affected her business, but the way she kept coming for Jenn, I was like, no, Gina, you're the one person that could relate. And instead, you're jumping. And Emily really pissed me off with that. I was like, Emily, get off it.
Talks about her finances so much.
Oh, my gosh.
It's none of your business.
No, but Jenn, when Jenn slipped in, well,
I know what you would get at.
Yeah.
That is why she's the MVP of the OC, baby.
There she is. What I love about Jenn is she's so sweet, but she can slide that in there. And
with a smile.
And a pretty one at that.
And smooth as butter.
As butter. Child. And it's not, they don't talk about it yet on the reunion, but let me just say, when I love how she punked Tamra, you would have thought it wasn't in her, but those be the ones. And Tamra knew to do nothing. That clapping was because she didn't know what else to do. She
had no words.
Nope. She didn't want that smoke. Okay. And to me, that's what you get. Because when you keep pushing somebody, she pushed her one too many times and Jenn came at her. And I was like, it was so, even Heather was like, whoa.
You attack the ones that you think are weak and aren't going to fight back. She's awful, but she picked the wrong one.
And you see how she simmered back down and Shannon ruined our friendship. Girl, bye.
I hear you.
Yes. But anyway, so I'm going to wrap up Tamra and Shannon and say, any thoughts, Joey?
No, because we're not going to get anywhere. It's like a merry-go-round.
Yes.
Tamra's not going to change. We've seen change in Shannon. I think Shannon might make the right choice. I hope she sticks with it with the healthy boundaries.
Me too.
That's not your friend. That was never your friend. Tamra's a friend to nobody.
No one.
And move on. Good for Shannon.
That's it. I'm proud of Shannon because I was so afraid that she was going to fall for it, but she didn't. She said she's not interested in a friendship with Tamra, and I hope it stays that way.
Agreed.
Then we go to Shannon versus Heather. Mm-hmm. With the whole where she confided in Heather with the picture of her after the accident with the DUI, and at the dinner in London where she brought to the group that she thought that Shannon was lying because being on Jeff Lewis, the stories conflicted. What did you think about that?
I don't know. Again, I don't understand Heather this season. I don't know what she's trying to do. Because you acted so supportive to Shannon in that season. But again, the minute you surrounded yourself with Tamra, she shifts into this different person. And you broke her confidentiality. And to use the podcast, regardless, it is Shannon's issue. If she wants to talk about it on a podcast, talk about it. You want to go on TikTok Live and talk about it, that is your deal. Mm-hmm. Heather, it's not your business to repeat, period. She made it very clear, we're going to keep this between us. Heather agreed. And then I feel like she couldn't wait to talk about it. Exactly.
I really feel like, well, it's no secret that Heather and Jeff Lewis do not like each other. Well, he detests her. And I'm sure once she knows someone doesn't like her, well, that's it. Yeah, he doesn't have a kind word to say about Heather. So
I'm not a fan of his.
I'm not either. Oh God, no. Very
very jarring person.
Very, yeah. And Andy keeps giving him a seat on Watch What Happens Live. Why? Child, I know. But it just, I was, at that turn, and that's when it shifted, of course, for the season with Heather. And I'm so turned off.
Same.
I am so turned off. And so, she does her spill and she basically pleads her case in the fact that she was on Jeff Lewis and she was talking about it. Now she thought she was okay to talk about it. Andy co-signed. And Shannon was just like, whatever. And she tried to explain being on Jeff that her words got mixed up and, she didn't owe her that. I'm with you,
No.
Joey. It was her
Yeah.
business.
Talk about it if you want. It's no one else's business to talk about.
Sure. Exactly. So, at any rate, we wrap that up. And then we basically get into a little bit of the Katie and the Heather situation with everybody kind of jumping in there. He wants to talk about her being the new housewife and like her experience with this season. So they do the flashback, and Katie has a really she's got a good storyline. The fact that she was adopted. She's Korean. She was adopted by a Southern family, a white family. She's not in tune with her Korean side, so she wants to go and to Korea, meet her birth mom, to let her mom know that I turned out okay. She's got a blended family. There's the thing with the ex-husband, the daughter that got adopted by her current husband, Matt, who I love. Love. He's great. And so she has some things going on. And then, unfortunately for her, she came in hot with an agenda for Heather.
Way too hot.
Way too hot. It was dumb. It was.
What's your thought about this whole paparazzi story?
That if she really watched the show, that she should know that, so what? That wasn't going to give what you wanted it to give, honey.
Bingo. So what? Even if
what?
Heather did call the paparazzi, who cares?
Who cares?
She didn't hurt anyone.
It didn't hurt anyone. And that's on brand with Heather Dubrow. So is it shocking? I could care less. I don't care.
And I thought at first, I was like, is this like Katie trying to like make like her like big debut moment? And I feel like it like landed so flat, so different than how she anticipated it. It made her look really bad in like the beginning, in my opinion.
It was so dumb. And I thought, girl, you had an opportunity to come in and share your story. And you could be friends with whom you wanted. I don't think Heather is her cup of tea. And I'm not sure what. Maybe we'll figure that out as if she gets brought back. I hope she does.
I do too.
I do. I don't get the sense. I'm pretty dead spot on when I say, oh, that's a one and doneer. I don't think that for Katie. I think she's got more to say, but I don't know.
She really grew on me as the season like went on.
Yeah.
I thought she was interesting. I liked her family. I thought she was like really open. I thought I loved her and like Jen's friendship. I loved like the organicness of how she kind of like found her own footing with these women, which is very hard to do.
Yes.
In saying that, could she be a little bit like a liar or embellisher? Probably, but which we'll get into that, I'm sure.
You're going to get into that. Yes. So basically, they go in and before Heather can really get her claws in her, they come up with Gina and Emily saying, you lied about saying you owned your home in San Diego, because Gina brought Katie on and Gina says that she reached out to me for real estate help. And, one of the questions I asked, which of course is normal, your home in San Diego, like, of course, do you need to sell that before you come over? All those things. And she said she owned it. But then she's like, well, I was in a lease to own. I did own it. I was in a lease to own, and they had to have 2 years rental history. And I was like, girlfriend. And they were like, well, Emily's like, yeah. Emily was getting on my nerves, though. She sounded like a whiny little girl. Yeah, but then you said this, and then you said that, and then.
But again, sharing nothing about herself, but in everyone else's business.
All up in it. I know. I don't get it. I will give Katie credit that she was so poised, but it just looked crazy to me. I was like, Katie, you sound very lie adjacent. You sound like a liar, but
I love that. Lie adjacent. That's exactly what she is.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to call her a straight up liar. It's very lie adjacent, though. I was like, and what was so funny, I had watched it downstairs and then it repeated again, I think at like 10 or something, whatever. So I was upstairs and my husband was up. He doesn't typically watch Housewives, but he went with me to BravoCon. He's a money guy. So he looks up, he's like, that's Heather Dubrow. And I went, it is. He was like, well, I remember her because you said she had a lot of money, right? I was like, yeah. So then he got into it. And even he said, Sherry, that Katie, she does. I was like, I know. Just shut up.
But you know what? Even like the house lie, it wasn't harming anyone. I mean,
It wasn't. And you know what? In all fairness, so what? I mean, I can imagine her feeling like I'm coming in this group. You know, they have money and everything, and not that Katie seems to be fine financially. She's straight, but
yeah,
but maybe she just wanted to be careful about what she said so that she would be accepted. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
And that wasn't even a big deal.
No, it was harmless, but of course, in true Housewives fashion, I mean, we got a harp on it.
Oh yeah. See, and Heather was, getting her case together, and she was using her minions to do it. I mean, Emily was hopping up in there, so true to Heather's personality, she kind of waits in, and she's like, "See, liar. See, told y'all, liar." They go through that, and then they ease into from there. Like I said, the $5 million lawsuit Andy brings up. Her company was sued because someone thought that she stole their idea for, what was it? Tea shots. Tea shots, yeah. But Katie said that, but I was dismissed of that case, and so there's that. Okay, then we go into the Heather jumps in there with the Sutton thing, saying that Sutton said that she used her. I did notice, I thought Andy was trying to be slick when they went and did the greetings around, and he was like, "Oh, have you talked to Sutton? And Sutton, you give you advice?" And she's like, "No, we haven't talked in weeks." And I thought, there you go, Andrew.
Hey, that's your boy.
We might break up now. I don't know. I'm still thinking. I'm thinking this through. But anyway, so we get past the $5 million lawsuit. She explains that the Sutton thing Heather brings up, saying that she was supposed to have some pro golfers show up and all this, and she was at Sutton's place, and instead none of that happened, and she felt like she used her, and Sutton had paid for all this stuff, photographers, caterers, and she was like, "No, that's not true. I offered to pay." All right.
Her interrupting Heather when Heather was talking and Katie just consistently kept interrupting her, I was dying. That is top tier television.
Yes, it is. It is. She gets like, "I'm talking, still talking."
Well, I'm correcting you.
Right? That, you know what though? That's what I like about Katie, because even like when they were on the finale episode, and she was like, "How dare you?" And Katie was like, "Girl," she just rolled, like, she's unfazed and unbothered, and I love that because
she is.
Heather had Gina shook. Heather has had Emily shook. I mean, I don't know how she does it, but
it's Heather Dubrow. She'd have me shook.
Right, fancy pants. I mean, the ladies like to stay in Heather's good graces for the most part. So she also brings up the conflicting stories of how Katie said that Heather snubbed her at Sutton's. That was also dumb.
Right.
Your thoughts on that, if any?
They just like love bringing out like the history books, and I just like don't understand. Again, who really cares? Like, we're here to talk about like this season, and there's so much to talk about. But again, like you said, all these like other stories were Heather building her case as she does so well.
So well. Yeah.
So well.
She does it flawlessly.
She could be villainous, but she's very good at what she does.
She
I feel
is.
like that was, again, just like another brick to her building her case that this woman's a liar.
It was.
Because, I mean, whether you saw her at the bar, whether you didn't see her at the bar, whether you were talking to Denise Richards, whether she wasn't there, like, I didn't see Camille. No one cares.
Nobody cares. But it was her saying, I don't think you're credible.
Right.
Yeah. And then Katie apologizes to Gina for the conversation she has with Tamra, saying that Gina set her up, which that was then Heather's way to get into, well, falsely accusing people seemed to be your thing.
Go.
I know, Joey. That's where I started to feel like, oh no, because I actually had read this. I had read this story. I had read the article and I was like,
see, I didn't read the article, but this is where things really went downhill.
Yes, it did. It did. So for those of you that may not know, spoiler alert, as if you haven't already gotten a spoiler, but the story is that Katie was driving with her 3 children. They were still in Georgia at the time. And this man, she said, swerves into her lane or something. But the story is Katie was texting. From her side, it was very vastly different, that this guy just freaked out on her, called her out of her name, called her a bitch and something. And she ends up on the side of the road, and he takes out his phone and is recording her and her children. She calls the cops and says that, she pulls up and he stands behind her car. So she thinks that she can't leave. And Heather's like, well, that's not what the police said. And she was like, and Andy's like, wait a minute. Well, how do you know what the police say? And she's like, because it was in the article. And it was.
You know what, though? Real quick. Miss Heather Dubrow. Right? When they did the flashback to them in the trailer getting ready, what do you want to come to the screen? I hope that we're not digging for dirt on other people, blah, blah, blah. And then tries to defend herself with this police story and is like, well, it was on social media. But you were mad at Katie about the paparazzi story when she clearly said, I saw it on TikTok, which is social media. So, Ms. Dubrow, you got to stop being such a hypocrite.
I know. I know. Even Andy looked at her like, you said, she was like, well, I didn't have to dig that up. I was like, oh, Heather.
It was on social media.
Yeah, I know. Bottom line, Katie had a hard time on that story. I felt like she kind of held her own till we got to that one.
Heather took her.
Heather got her, yeah.
Because Heather read the story from the article, right? Which said that she followed this man home to his home. And then he ended up getting arrested in front of his neighbors. Yeah. And this is where Katie screwed up, in my opinion.
That's where she screwed up, because
she switched her story. And said, well, I don't recall his neighbors being outside. You just told us you pulled off on the side of the road and called the police.
So where would his neighbors be on the side of the road?
Why on the side of some random road, right.
Or it even started when she was like, well, I don't know where he lives. Why would I follow him home? I was like, no, Katie.
Oh, good one. Yep.
Katie.
Maybe that one's not so much lie at Jason. It's just a lie.
It just was. I was like, Katie, I'm sorry. I really was pulling for you, but yeah, you lost. You lost a few points there. You look crazy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't see the name. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe. Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So she didn't show up in court. What I read is the man got his attorney fees, which was about $13,000 and $100,000 for suffering and damage, because he did get injured when he was slammed to the ground in front of his neighbors, on this concrete driveway. And she didn't show up in court. Now, she explained that she didn't get it, that it was served at her ex-husband's house.
I'm not a lawyer. I've never been served, but I'm pretty sure that's not how you get served.
I'm pretty sure that it's not as well. And as far as I know, because I've had people served, they have to serve it to that person by any means necessary to that person.
Right.
I'm sorry, Katie. Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take you off lie adjacent. You just lied, okay? But anyway, so there was that, and then from there we get into Paparazzi Gate, and not even to belabor that. Basically, she said she saw it on TikTok, and then there's even dispute over it wasn't on TikTok. That's not how it started. Bottom line is she reached out to a guy that she knows that works for the paparazzi to ask if she had it staged. He said yes, or that was her interpretation. And Heather maintains that she did not call, she did not do it, and then she was like, "And why do you care?" Like basically, and
But facts. Why do you care?
it just made her look dumb. And unfortunately, I'm hoping though that it was just true to Heather Dubrow. I mean, if you come for her, she's going to come back swinging in the classiest of ways, in the most condescending of ways. And she's like,
Yeah.
you,
She's good at that.
yeah, very good at that. And Emily then adds in about her kids. I thought that was an all-time low for Emily.
We have got to stop talking about each other's children.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
drives me crazy.
Yes, that is unbelievable. I mean, that was so unnecessary. The point had been proven without that. That did not need to be said. And I don't know if y'all saw, but in between them breaking, Heather did go over and apologize to her, which I thought was okay, because that was low. I mean, she was holding her own until then. I mean, anybody, when you start talking about their kids or you don't have custody, it was a very dark time. She apparently was living in a facility away from her children, and her husband had custody because she didn't have her own place at the time. And that was low. That was low. Emily did not need to do all that. I mean,
no way. And shame on Andy for letting it continue as long as it did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He allowed this mob mentality thing on like the right side to go on and on, like almost like the whole first part. And I was like, remember when he used to like intervene? Like,
yeah, like, okay. No. It's I don't know why. Like I said, there's been a shift, period. I don't get it. And if they're not careful, I don't know. We'll do that maybe on the last tell my thoughts, but we can put a bow on that. I mean, basically, it is what it is. Heather won. Katie, woo-hoo.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You know what? She tried.
She did try, and I mean, at least she was calm about it, and she took it with grace. I mean, no. I mean, she dipped and dodged a little. She tried, but no, sorry, no. So then the last bit is we go to Jenn. No. Everybody is in on her about the whole Ryan thing. What are your thoughts on that? I really want to know.
All right, so again, I'm gonna go off track a little bit, but I'm gonna get hate for this. I am a huge Teresa Giudice fan. Okay. And the one thing that I feel like I don't agree upon with other Teresa fans, though, is I am not a Louis fan.
No, me neither.
And I feel like this is like such a mirror image to me, where like I love Jenn, the MVP of the OC. She came in. She's my favorite housewife on OC. I just love everything about her. If she's happy, I'm happy for her. Something is off about Ryan from the early jump where, what does he do for work? Sits home and plays video games. What?
Right.
But you have all this money and you're always traveling. I mean, something's just not right.
Agreed.
And I understand why, obviously, it's going to be a point on like the show, why the women ask about it. It's where they're trying to make much must-see TV and television. But at some point, you gotta let this girl breathe, man.
Agreed.
Agreed.
I mean, look, first of all, yes, we all can see that there is something very off with Ryan. I mean, that's clear. And Emily, you don't need a law degree to know what immunity means. We all know that he had to have cooperated and had given up something. You know, there was bigger fish to fry, which was his friend Matt, and he gave up what he had to give up so that he's free and clear in immunity. Okay, so you don't have to have a law degree to know that.
And like, stop talking about it. We get it. You're a lawyer.
Right. Not practicing either, but you are a lawyer. And no shade. And no shade, because I mean, look, that law degree, that's hers. Passing that bar. I mean,
good for her. I couldn't do that.
Me neither. So I get it, but it just, I don't know if it was her way of trying to make herself feel more relevant or what, but I was like, girl, stop. And again, I felt so bad for Jenn because I wanted it so badly to not be something, because it pissed me off when they flashed back to the scene with Tamra and the FBI hat. And I was right about Brooks and I was right about Ryan. I was just like, yeah.
And then even on the couch, Tamra's, you know, talking about all this like legal stuff, like riding Emily's coattails. Tamra, you're not a lawyer. Mind your business.
Right. I just,
Another mob mentality that Andy just let get away.
He let it just run. And I was like, come on now. I mean, in one breath, you've made it clear. The man is free and clear. Immunity. It's done. You could talk about it. Yep. Maybe he did, but talking about whether he knew or he did or what account he had or where did the money come, it's irrelevant at this point.
Right.
I can understand concern if it's genuine, because I agree with you much. I'm a Teresa fan. Teresa, I am a fan. I just wish she would reconcile with her brother. But I know that Melissa is a lot of the reason why she's not. So
don't get me started.
I know. And it's so unfortunate because they tore up New Jersey, and that was one of my favorites. I hate that.
100%. It was the best. Yes.
They did what some of the other franchise couldn't. I love that they don't play about their husbands, their families. The sense of family is what makes New Jersey so great. And so for it to break apart that way.
But like we talked about, where in the past, the shows were actual friends, actual family. That's why it works. And then you bring in these other people and they're just trying to save their paycheck. And it's messy, you know?
It's very messy. It's bad for the Housewife franchise. And I hope, I mean, I know they keep trying reboots, new women, different things. I hope the meeting of the minds takes place and they realize it wasn't broke before. I don't know what y'all are doing, but yeah.
Right.
At any rate, guys, basically we're going to wrap it up with this. It was more of the same, you know. Jenn, I love where she said, you know what, I don't owe you all that. I don't owe you that. You know, she tried to answer what she could, the immunity. She played a little dumb, but look, she doesn't have to answer that. He's absolved from it now, so doesn't matter.
And I mean, she's been on his defense for 2 seasons now.
Yeah, and that seems to trigger Emily again as we close. But that's when she put in the jab look, honey.
The Jenn Zinger.
The Jenn Zinger. I love it. Like, well, I heard your in-laws pay for your whole lifestyle. And she just looked crazy.
Emily, mute.
Yep.
Mute.
Yep. So Jenn won, Emily. So y'all, that's basically how it ended. So we're going to come back next week for part 2, which I can't wait. There was something they said in like what's coming up next, something about Eddie and being in somebody's bed or where he was sleeping. I can't wait because I don't have no idea what that's about.
No, me either.
No, don't know. But if it's going to come for Tamra, she deserves it. And I want to be here for it. Okay. But Joey, last words.
You know what? It wasn't a bad part 1. I gotta be honest.
And
through and through, my opinions have not changed. Jenn's my favorite. Tamra got to go to the parking lot, and I'm super excited to see what part 2 brings.
Me too. Me too. Me too. All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, again, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Put in the comments what you thought of part 1 and what you thought of the season as a whole. We will be back next week to talk about part 2. You guys come back with us. Thank you again, Joey. This is fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
Yes, and you come back next week so we can do this again.
I'll be here.
All right. All right, y'all. Thank you again. You guys have a great one. Bye.